In a world full of noise and fear, there are whispers that touch the heart, stories that remind us how fragile and beautiful life truly is. This is not just a prophecy, it's a journey through hope, loss, and awakening. Listen closely, for within these words lies the voice of destiny, calling humanity to remember its soul. In a world full of noise and fear, there are whispers that touch the heart, stories that remind us how fragile and beautiful life truly is. This is not just a prophecy, it's a journey through hope, loss, and awakening. Listen closely, for within these words lies the voice of destiny, calling humanity to remember its soul. In the year 2024, the air of the world began to feel different, as if something unseen had started to move beneath the surface of time. The winds carried strange whispers, and the skies often changed their colors without reason. In the quiet villages and loud cities alike, people began to sense that the world was standing at the edge of something vast and unknown. Baba Vanga had once said that when the calm begins to tremble, the years ahead will not bring peace but awakening. Her words were now echoing through the lives of people who had never even heard her name. It started with nature itself rebelling against mankind. In the early months of 2024, floods came with a fury that had not been seen before. Rivers burst their banks and swallowed entire towns. Villages that had stood for centuries were washed away in a single night. In the plains of Pakistan, water rolled like dark glass over the fields, while in India, monsoon rains refused to stop for weeks. In Europe, cities choked with heat as fire turned forests into deserts. In America, hurricanes came one after another, and people watched helplessly as their homes drifted away in the raging water. Baba Vanga had said the earth will cry before it punishes, that the balance of nature will break, and humans will be forced to face what they have done. And so it happened. The seasons forgot their order. Summer burned too long, and winter forgot to arrive. Crops failed, and the smell of smoke hung in the air like a warning. People began to remember her words, and fear spread faster than the fires. By the middle of 2024, she said a shadow would fall across the world. It would not come from the sky, but from the hearts of men. It began as political tension, but soon turned to hatred. Nations began to prepare for something they did not yet name. Weapons were built in silence. Borders were armed. In secret meetings, leaders spoke of protection, but everyone knew they meant war. Baba Vanga had spoken of this too. She said, when the eagle trembles and the bear stirs, the storm will no longer wait. Then the year 2025 arrived. It was the year she had called the year of unrest, the beginning of what she described as a long night for humanity. And it began in the Middle East. Iran and Israel clashed in a war that lit up the deserts with fire. Missiles tore through the sky, and cities that once glowed with life turned to ash. What began as a border conflict grew into a storm of destruction that reached beyond its lands. Other nations began to take sides, and the region became a furnace of pain. In the same year, another war line opened between India and Pakistan. It began without warning, one sudden strike after another. No one knew where it would end. Villages were caught in the crossfire, and millions fled their homes. The sky above the border glowed red for days. Baba Vanga had said this war would not remain between two nations, that it would awaken old enemies and drag others into its fire. And she was right. As the months passed, European countries began to ready their forces. Russia stepped into the shadows, waiting. By autumn 2025, fear had become a living thing. In every corner of the world, people felt it crawling in their chests. The news spoke of collapsing economies and strange diseases returning in unknown places. The dollar began to fall. Markets cracked like glass. People lined up outside banks, unsure if their money would still be there tomorrow. Baba Vanga had warned that before the new world rises, the old one will crumble to dust. She said the powerful will already have their plan ready, and when the collapse begins, they will show the new order they had prepared in secret. Then came the whispers about a man, a figure who was not yet known but whose name began to move through the wind. Baba Vanga had called him the Lord of the World. She said he would appear when people are desperate for peace, when the wars have burned too much and the people have no hope left. He would rise from the confusion, promising to end the suffering, but his peace would not be free. He would unite nations under one banner and speak of a single law for mankind. Some would call him a savior, others would call him the deceiver. Baba Vanga said his power will not come from faith, but from control. He will not carry light in his hands, but a shadow that shines. In 2025, people began to look for such a man. Some said he would come from the east, others said from the west. Some believed he had already appeared but was waiting for his time. And as the conflicts deepened and the world slipped further into chaos, people became ready to follow anyone who promised them safety. By the end of that year, the skies themselves seemed to echo the unease. Strange lights were seen in many parts of the world. In America, pilots reported objects that moved faster than any human craft. In Russia, soldiers said they saw shapes above the mountains that disappeared into clouds. Baba Vanga had once said that when the earth burns, the heavens will open, that a time will come when humanity will no longer be alone. Scientists began to talk openly about the possibility of contact with beings beyond this world. When the year 2026 arrived, the sense of strangeness turned to certainty. Baba Vanga had named it the year of revelation and fear. She said mankind will finally see what it has long denied. Governments will no longer be able to hide the truth. The first confirmed contact will happen, and it will change everything. It will not bring war, she said. It will bring understanding, but also great confusion, because it will make people question what they are and who truly created them. In that same year, the planet itself began to roar. Earthquakes struck where no fault lines existed. Volcanoes that had slept for centuries began to breathe fire. Seas rose higher than before, and waves devoured coastal towns. In Japan, the ground split open, swallowing roads and fields. In South America, entire villages vanished under mud. Baba Vanga had said the earth will shake until man remembers that he does not own it. Pakistan was among the most wounded lands. Glaciers melted and rivers flooded plains that were already broken. Cities drowned, and in the aftermath, sickness spread. Doctors could not understand the new diseases that began to appear. They said it was from the melting ice. But Baba Vanga had warned that when the frozen mountains weep, the dead will rise again. She meant not the people, but the ancient sickness buried for thousands of years. The air grew thick with smoke. In Punjab and Sindh, the sun disappeared behind a gray curtain of smog. Children coughed through masks, and old men sat outside their homes breathing as if it were their last breath. Scientists said the air quality had fallen to levels never seen before. People compared the color of their lungs in hospitals black and lifeless like burned wood. In the high mountains, those who still breathed clean air had lungs that glowed pink like the morning sky. It was as if the world itself was showing two futures, one dying, one still alive. In India, the situation was no better. Smog filled the cities and people began to leave. They said more than 200,000 had surrendered their citizenships seeking air that did not kill them. Imagine that people leaving their homeland not for war or hunger, but just to breathe. Baba Vanga had said that by 2026 the air will become man's greatest enemy, and those who once ruled the world will hide from the sky itself. Even the great powers began to feel small. Economies trembled. Technology failed. There were reports of strange cyber attacks that no one could trace. Systems crashed in seconds. Some said it was another nation, some said it came from beyond the earth. Baba Vanga had spoken of unseen wars fought not with weapons but with silence and light. Wars that would not kill bodies first, but minds. The world had entered a night of fear. People no longer trusted what they saw. Rumors spread that the great leader Baba Vanga spoke of had already appeared and was guiding these events to prepare for his rule. Some believed he was a messenger of hope, others called him the shadow of doom. She had also said that when Israel grows in power, the world will grow in crisis. that every rise of its strength will shake the balance of Earth. And in 2026, this too seemed to be true. Political maps were redrawn, alliances shifted. Every movement in the Middle East sent waves through the rest of the world. It was as if the heart of the planet beat from that one small land. The night was growing darker. People looked at the sky hoping for a sign of light, but the stars seemed dimmer. The wind carried dust instead of rain. The birds were quiet and the seas restless. Baba Vanga had said that before the new dawn there will be silence, a silence so deep that the earth will seem to hold its breath. The silence had begun. The world entered 2026 in silence that felt heavy, like a pause before a storm. People no longer looked at the news for hope, only for warning. Each morning came with a new headline that made hearts tremble. Floods in one part of the world, fire in another. Entire coastlines vanishing, forests turning black. But behind every tragedy there was a strange sense that all this had been foretold. Somewhere in the shadows of memory, the words of Baba Vanga echoed. When man forgets humility, the earth will remind him who is greater. In the beginning of that year, a blinding light appeared over the Pacific Ocean. It wasn't a meteor, not a satellite, not any weapon the nations admitted owning. For 20 minutes, the sky glowed like dawn in the middle of the night. Cameras captured it, scientists debated it, governments hid the truth. But Vanga had once said, "When light comes without the sun, eyes will open to a truth beyond the world." Weeks later, strange signals began to appear in the skies. Radio telescopes caught patterns that no human language could decode. Some said they were from another planet. Others whispered that they came from under the sea. The world held its breath. For the first time, people wondered not just if we were alone, but if we were being watched. By spring 2026, a voice spoke to the world. Not a single voice, but a message broadcasted through every network, translated instantly into every language. It said only one sentence: "Your world is at the end of its beginning." The message disappeared as quickly as it came. No source, no signal trace. But the fear it left behind did not fade. That same month, the mysterious leader Vanga had spoken of, the one she called the Lord of the World, began to rise. He appeared first as a humanitarian, a man of peace with no clear nation, no army, no past. His name was never the same from one country to another. To some, he was a savior. To others, a symbol of power and control. He spoke with calm certainty about a new dawn, a unified world where borders would disappear, where faiths would merge, and war would end forever. The weary world listened. When the economies finally collapsed that summer, his words began to sound like salvation. Banks shut down overnight. Digital money replaced all others. He announced a single global currency, the world mark. It promised safety, but it came with a cost. Every person who accepted it had to be registered in a system that saw and tracked everything. Those who refused became outcasts, cut off from food, medicine, and shelter. And yet, people lined up in millions. Hunger and fear can make faith in anything. Baba Vanga had warned, he will promise light but bring shadow. His peace will bind men like chains of gold. As 2026 deepened, a great storm began to form over the Atlantic. It was the largest ever seen, stretching from one horizon to another. Satellites showed patterns that looked almost deliberate, like spirals drawn by an unseen hand. For 40 days it raged, wiping away islands, swallowing ships, redrawing coasts. The storm's eye passed over Europe, and for the first time in history, 3 capitals, London, Paris, and Rome, went dark in the same night. People said the world had finally entered the era of revelation. Then came the silence after the storm, the kind that felt wrong. It was too quiet. Birds vanished. The air grew thick and strange. Doctors in Asia began reporting a sickness that turned the skin pale and the eyes glassy. It spread faster than any plague before. Scientists found frozen bacteria thawed from the Himalayas and Siberia. Baba Vanga had warned, the ice will open its mouth and speak with death. Within months, millions were sick. Borders closed again, but it was useless. The disease moved through the air and the rain. Some said it wasn't natural. Some said it was punishment. The new leader spoke again, promising cure and order. He introduced a small device, a glowing mark that would protect those who carried it. It was placed on the hand or the forehead, meant to track health and prevent infection. Many accepted it out of desperation. Those who refused vanished quietly. The world began to split not by nations, but by belief. One side trusted the new system, the other fled into hiding. Underground communities formed, praying for mercy and remembering the old world. The leader declared that unity was the only salvation. His voice played across every screen, every radio, every city wall. He smiled gently as he said, "I am not your ruler. I am your deliverer." But in the deserts of Arabia and the mountains of Asia, whispers grew that this man was the deceiver foretold by prophets long ago. Some said he had risen from places where no child was ever born. Others swore they saw his shadow move when his body did not. The faithful called him Dajjal. By the middle of 2026, the world was unrecognizable. Oceans had swallowed parts of Africa and South America. The Amazon was gone, turned into a lake of mud. The Arctic Circle melted into green water. The map of the earth was changing day by day. In Pakistan, rivers overran their banks. The Indus became a sea. Entire villages floated away. In the north, melting glaciers unleashed ancient gases that turned the skies strange shades of green and red. The sun dimmed for days. The temperature dropped without warning, and then heat would return like fire. Farmers abandoned their land. Cities drowned in chaos. People cried to God for mercy. And amid all this, mysterious lights began appearing in the night sky. They moved in formation, faster than aircraft, brighter than stars. But his eyes, once warm, now seemed hollow, as if another voice spoke through him. He said a new age was coming, an age when heaven and earth would unite and humanity would transcend. He called it the Era of Light. Baba Vanga's prophecy returned to every tongue. When the deceiver speaks of light, darkness will stand behind him. Natural disasters multiplied. Japan was struck by a quake that split its land in half. Italy's volcanoes erupted together for the first time. The sky over the Mediterranean turned blood red. Some said the sun itself was dying. Scientists spoke of magnetic poles shifting, of the planet tilting slightly. But faithless science could no longer calm hearts. People felt something greater was moving, something divine or demonic. In those final months of 2026, humanity began to hear the earth hum, a low vibration like a heartbeat, recorded by instruments but also felt in the bones. Some described it as the sound of the planet's soul. Baba Vanga had said, "When the earth begins to sing, the end of her patience has come." In the chaos, there were miracles too. Children speaking languages they had never learned. Blind people suddenly seeing visions of cities shining above the clouds. Rivers parting in strange patterns. And somewhere in the Middle East, a small group of believers claimed that a child had been born who could silence the hum of the earth with a single touch. The world did not know yet whether to call him hope or illusion. And so the story of humanity hung on the edge between ruin and revelation, between faith and fear. The years from 2024 to 2026 had become a prophecy fulfilled line by line, storm by storm, death by awakening. What waited beyond was uncertain, but one truth echoed in every heart, that the old world was gone, and the new one would test the soul of every living being. When night finally came on the last day of 2026, the stars disappeared. Only one remained, a single light burning brighter than the moon. No telescope could explain it, no scientist could name it. Some fell to their knees and called it a sign of mercy. Others feared it was the eye of the deceiver himself watching from the heavens. In that moment, humanity faced its final choice to believe in what it could not see, or to follow what it feared was false salvation. And somewhere, beyond the sound of storms and war, Baba Vanga's voice seemed to whisper again, "The end is not the end. It is only the truth removing its veil." This is the end of story. Please subscribe and like, and goodbye.